All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to lesson 26. We are comparing fractions greater than 1 by using our benchmark fractions that we know. So remember, we know that 0, half, 1, but we know it from 1 to 2, so we know that 1.5 point. 2 to 3, we know that 2.5 point. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a little bit of a word problem right now. So let's imagine I need 13/4 cups of flour. Oops, F-L-O-U-R. You don't need to write that. And my friend needs 9/2 cups of flour. And so that's friend number 1. And friend number 2 needs 3 6/8 cups of flour. We're going to go ahead and compare those 3 fractions. Now you might be saying, but we can't. And I hope you are, because they don't have common denominators, do they? So what we're going to do is we're going to try to come up with, using benchmarks, try as close as we can to figure out where they belong. So the first thing we have to do is we have to at least put them in the same format. We have improper fraction, mixed number. I don't care which way you go, whether you turn this into a mixed number or whether you turn this into an improper fraction. But somehow we have to have them all consistent. Whatever path you take is fine with me. So I'm going to have you pause and either change these into mixed numbers or change this into an improper fraction. Pause while you do this. I have done it both ways for you. I put 13/4, 9/2, and I changed 3 6/8 into 38. But then I also put it into mixed number form. 13/4 is 3 1/4, 9/2 is 4 1/2, 38 is 3 6/8. I'm finding that if I put them in my mixed number form, I can compare them quite quickly. I know 13/4 is 3 1/4 because 12/4 is the same as 3, and that's just 1/4 left. If you need help converting these, then maybe you need to raise your hand right now, and I can come over and guide you. But if you don't, let's move on. Let's go ahead and draw that number line. So we know that our smallest whole number is 3, and our largest whole number is, no, not 4, because it's 4 1/2, so it would be 5. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to figure out where 3 1/4 falls, 4 1/2 falls, and 3 6/8 falls. 13/4, 9/2, 38. Either one doesn't matter. Pause while you do this. All right, what I did is I said, okay, so I know that there are 3 wholes in 13/4. So I know it's going to be past 3. And then I just looked at a quarter. Well, where would a quarter fall? Well, it's just a little bit past 3. I did the same thing with 9/2. I know that there are 4 wholes because 8/2 is worth 4 with 1/2 left. So I knew it was past 4, but it was worth 1/2 right there. And this one, we already knew it was worth 3, but 24/8 is 3 wholes. And I had 6/8 left, so it's a little bit past 3, more than a little, right before 4. That's where they would fall. So if I were to compare them, I would say that this guy is the biggest guy of all. And if I were to compare these two, obviously this one, 3 6/8, is bigger than 3 1/4. All right, next thing we're going to do, I want you to write down these 2 fractions on your boards. One thing I forgot to do was to say, I guess we didn't have to say who had the most, but to compare. We just compared them. Never mind. Veto. Looking at these 2 pieces, these 2 fractions, how can we compare them easily? Well, our denominators are pretty different. to get the same common denominator, we could multiply them and make it 56. But I'll tell you, I do not want to multiply this by what it took me to get to 56. It'd be times 8. 29 times 8, I don't have time for that. Same thing here. 8 times 7 gives me 56. 7 times 31, I don't want to do that. So the biggest thing we need to do is we want to maybe turn them into mixed numbers just to make our lives a little bit easier. So what I say to myself is if I count by sevens, how do I get close to 29? Well, we know that 7 sevens equals 1, 14 sevens equals 2. Go ahead and continue that path until you can take out as many wholes as possible from both of them. So do your sevens first, then do your eighths. Go ahead and pause while you do that. So for my sevenths, I took it all the way to 5 to get 35 sevenths, which is larger than this. So I know I have to step back. I can take out 4 wholes. So I can take out 4 wholes, which is the same as saying 28 sevenths. Well, if I have 28 sevenths I stole, what do I have left? Well, I just have 1 seventh. So that would equal 4 and 1/7. Now, if I look at my 31 eighths, I took out my eighths. I took it all the way up to 32 eighths. Well, 32 eighths is equivalent to 4, but wait, I only have 31. Bummer. So I have to step back. I can take out 3 wholes, which is the same as saying 24 eighths. But I still have a lot of eighths left, so I have to figure out what my difference is here. 31 to 24, or 24 to 31, it's going to be 7. So I have 7 eighths left. So that means I have 3 and 7 eighths. So now can I compare those two fractions? Oh yeah. Which one's bigger, 4 wholes and 1/7 or 3 wholes and 7 eighths? Well, I sure hope you said 4 wholes and 1/7. Therefore, 29 sevenths is greater than 31 eighths. You can't just guess. Look at all the work that went into that. Now, you may not need to do this because you know your facts really fast, or you may need to, and that's okay. But take your time. This is the last piece I want you to look at. 5 and 7 eighths versus 5 and 9 tenths. How would I compare those two? Well, first off, what holes do they fall between? Well, they fall between 5 and 6. So they already both fall between each one. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pretend this 5 isn't there because they kind of cancel each other out. They're the same. So really I'm comparing 7 eighths and 9 tenths. So from there, that's when I can decide which one is larger. Well, 7 eighths versus 9 tenths, I can go ahead and grab a common denominator so I can figure that out. And that way I could compare them easier. Or I could look at it this way. If I used my tape model and I cut it into eighths, and 7 of those eighths are filled in, versus 9 tenths, which we're going to cut just a little bit differently. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 9 tenths filled in. This is 1/10 away from a hole. This is 1/8 away from a hole. Which is a smaller piece? Well, this is a tenth is just a hair smaller, so it's just a little bit closer to a hole. That would make this bigger. If you wanted that common denominator, you could by writing out your factors, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. We know 10 works with 40. 8 times 5 gets me 40, which you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 7 times 5 is 35. 10 times 4 is 40. 9 times 4 is 36. Just a hair bigger. All right, get your problem set, find a partner, and good luck.